The ink moved. It was a single, perfect line of a dragon's tail tattooed onto the cold, concrete wall of the cell block. The new inmate Finn, a man who built his life on the precision of a forger's hand, saw it twitch. He blinked, convinced it was a trick of the light, but it moved again, a slow, serpentine ripple, as if the wall itself were breathing. An old man they called Silas the Canvas, his own skin a faded tapestry of forgotten stories, spoke without looking up. Rule number 1, artist. Don't stare too long. The walls stare back. The dragon's tail settled back into stillness, but a single black scale was now missing from the wall. And on the back of Finn's hand, a new, identical black scale had appeared, cold and sharp against his skin. He was about to learn that this prison didn't just hold you, it rewrote you. Irongate Penitentiary was a gallery of despair. Every surface, from the floors to the ceilings, was covered in a single, continuous, masterful tattoo. It was a sprawling mural of myths and monsters, a beautiful, terrifying work of art that seemed to watch the inmates' every move. The prisoners were quiet, listless. Many of them were blanks, their own tattoos. The marks of their lives on the outside faded into nothing. Finn, whose forgery skills relied on a perfect memory for lines and patterns, found the place an affront to his senses. He saw it happen to another inmate. A man with a proud eagle tattooed on his neck would wake up one morning and a single feather would be gone from his skin. Later that day, Finn would see a new, identical feather appear in the wing of a great bird tattooed on the mess hall wall. The prison was stealing their stories, one piece of ink at a time, and adding them to its own. "It's the Illustrator," Silas rasped, his voice thin as paper. "He's always working, always seeking new pigment." "The warden?" Finn asked. Silas shook his head, his eyes full of a deep, weary sorrow. "The Illustrator is the art. The warden is just the frame." Finn's obsession began. He needed to understand the composition, the artist's intent. He needed to find the original sketch. He knew it wouldn't be in a digital file. This was an old, analog magic. He used his skills to forge work orders and gain access to the prison's deepest, oldest records vault. Behind a false wall, in a lead-lined box, he found it. The illustrator's sketchbook. The pages were filled with anatomical drawings, alchemical symbols, and a horrifying, visionary plan. The illustrator wasn't a man. He was the prison's original founder, a tattoo artist obsessed with creating a single, perfect being. He believed that a person's life, their soul, was imprinted in the ink on their skin. Irongate Penitentiary wasn't a prison. It was a canvas. The mural on the walls wasn't just art. It was a dormant creature, a golem made of stolen stories. The blanks weren't just losing their tattoos. They were losing their identities, their life force drained away to become pigment for the masterpiece. The illustrator's goal was to gather enough unique stories, enough ink to complete the final piece of the mural, the creature's heart. Once the heart was finished, the entire prison would awaken, a single, conscious being made of 1,000 stolen lives. The final pages of the sketchbook were filled with complex calculations, searching for the final, perfect component. The illustrator needed a specific kind of soul, one with a perfect understanding of line, form, and story. He needed the hand of a master artist. A forger? The final entry was a single, chilling portrait, sketched with impossible detail. It was a perfect likeness of Finn. Below it, one word, signature. Finn felt a cold shock. He hadn't been sentenced here by a judge. He had been collected. He was the final piece. His skill, his soul, was meant to be the final, authenticating signature that would awaken the beast. As if summoned by his discovery, the walls of the vault began to hum. The ink on the walls began to move, the great tattooed beasts turning their heads towards him. Tendrils of black ink slithered from the walls, reaching for him, trying to pull the story from his skin. He ran, the ink flowing behind him like a pack of silent, two-dimensional wolves. He was a forger. He couldn't overpower the art, but he could ruin it. A masterpiece is defined by its authenticity, its singular, unbroken vision. A forgery, even a perfect one, is worthless once the flaw is revealed. He had to introduce a flaw, a paradox that the art could not absorb. He needed to sign the masterpiece himself. but with a signature that was a lie. He raced to the heart, the central chamber of the prison, a vast rotunda where the final, unfinished tattoo was located. It was a space on the wall, shaped like a human heart, waiting for its final lines. The living tattoos poured into the chamber. Surrounding him, their ink-black forms, solidifying. They weren't trying to kill him. They were trying to hold him still, to present him to the empty space on the wall. He had one chance. He pulled a sharpened piece of metal from his sleeve, a makeshift needle. He didn't fight the ink creatures. He turned to the wall, to the empty heart. He was a master forger. He could replicate any line, any signature, any story. He had to create a line that meant nothing, a signature that belonged to no one. He pressed the needle to his own arm, drawing a single, perfect drop of his own blood, his own ink. He dipped the needle in it and turned to the wall. The living tattoos paused, as if intrigued by his offering. He began to draw in the empty space. Not a heart, not a name. He drew a perfect, impossible shape, a Penrose triangle, a shape that can be drawn but cannot exist. He drew a line that had no beginning and no end, a loopy of pure geometric nonsense. It was a perfect forgery of an impossible object, a beautiful, logical lie. As he completed the final line, the entire prison shuddered. The illustrator's grand, cohesive artwork now contained a piece of data it could not process. It was a story with no meaning, a signature of a ghost. A high-pitched grinding sound filled the air as the mural on the walls began to glitch. The great beasts trembled, their lines blurring. The perfect composition was corrupted. With a final echoing groan of stressed concrete, the movement stopped. The living tattoos froze, becoming simple, inert ink once more. The prison fell silent, its grand ambition shattered by a single, paradoxical line. Finn had won. He had saved the blanks from being fully consumed, but the cost was written on his skin. To draw the impossible shape, he had used his own life force, his own story as pigment. He looked down at his arms. All his own tattoos, the intricate work he was so proud of, were gone. He was a blank now, too. He had saved the prison by sacrificing his own story, becoming just another part of its now frozen, corrupted collection. The story of Finn is a haunting question about the nature of art, identity, and the flaws that make us real. If this tale of a living prison captured your imagination, show your support by hitting that like button. Subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss a story drawn from the shadows. Now, we ask you, what is the one mark or memory that defines your story? The one piece of yourself you would never allow to be erased? Let us know your signature story in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Be careful what stories you become a part of. Some of them are still being written.